Hello. So I wanted to go live for a minute. I've been going through some just enormous things, and I want to give you kind of a rundown of that because I think it's probably evidence of something much larger going on. In short, I think we're dissolving old programs. I think that the reptilian brain, all the things, all the ways we would describe it. I've come to the conclusion that it's a mystery and I don't know. Okay, we can call it 5D ascension. We're dropping these old programs, but when you're living through it, I think it's really, really important. I should have named this video like the mystery, trust the mystery. I named it trust versus fear, dropping old programs, because I think it's the biggest bucket into which all of this fits. But yeah, I had an experience this morning where I was taking a walk with Max, and I had a traumatic experience recently. I went tubing with some friends, and the pooter, especially up in the mountains, we just barely into the mountains is where we go. We've had a ton of rain here, just an unprecedented amount of rain. Something's going on. I think it's good. No fire danger, no fires. It's great. But anyway, there was a lot of water, and it was dangerous. And my raft, my tube, I keep calling it my raft, it got flipped out from underneath me, and I went bouncing along the rocks. And I don't think my life was ever in danger, but I was not in control. And, at one point I was like, just let go, kick your feet out in front of you, let go of the tube. Obviously, it's dangerous to try to hold on to it. The water wasn't that deep where I was, but the current was very, very strong. So I finally let go. I'm bouncing. I've been a rafting guide. I've taken safety training on the river. So, I was doing my best. I was kind of qualified to be in the situation. And yet this comes down to a lesson. We're not in control and we don't know everything. So I'm bouncing along and I'm, kind of screaming and trying to, and there are people on the beach watching. It's kind of a really wide area of the river, but it's very loud. And I just kind of keep bouncing along. And like, I've got this, I've got this. And then all of a sudden there was a moment when I realized I haven't got this. I'm really scared and I need to let people know that I'm not okay. And so I just started screaming literally as loud as I could for probably, I don't know, maybe it was 30 seconds, maybe it was 5 minutes. I don't know, but I was terrified. And some guys came out. I knew they could never get to me, but they started to approach me. And again, the water wasn't that deep, but it was deep enough that I was being kind of engulfed by water. And so finally, I managed to crawl myself to the edge, and they were there and kind of helped me stand up. And I didn't actually need them, but I did for moral support. And, they helped walk me to I sat down and, in retrospect, I rescued myself. And that was a really big lesson. Well, so I dealt with all of that. No, I haven't quite dealt with it because when I went to the river with my dog, Max, there's this big pool that's about 10 feet in diameter, and it's just a pool that is a starting point. There's this huge pipe under there that pipes water from the lake right across the dirt road, goes under it. And then the river, the Pooter is going by there, and so it looks like this enormous spring. And water is just kind of bubbling up, and then it flows down into the river. And I sat on this little rock, and I was like, oh, this will be a great place to contemplate. And Max gets in, starts paddling around. His hind end gets kind of sucked into where the is, and I'm like, uh-oh. And he's looking at me, and I'm like, you're okay, you're okay. And then there was about 3 seconds or 4 seconds of absolute fucking panic because he started to get sucked down. And I knew that if he got sucked down, there was nothing I could do, that it would be insanity to dive in there and try to get him out, especially after what I'd just been through. So I was like, I'm on the verge of losing my dog, watching my dog drown before my eyes, and I can't do anything about it. And so it just all happened in literally like 3 or 4 seconds, utter panic. And then he came out. He didn't quite go all the way under, and he came out and got out, and seemed fine, and told me later, when it's my time to go, it'll be much more gentle than that, and I will be with you as long as I'm supposed to be with you. Just this ancient wisdom came through him, and I just wept. But anyway, my conclusion about all of this is that we don't know sometimes how to navigate. Is this a situation where I have to claw my way out and exert 100% effort in order to save myself? That was the case in the river. Is this a situation where I should just release and let go into the flow and there's nothing I can do and I'll come out the other end? Just let go. In a sense, that was true too, but the first was true. So we don't know what the situation calls for in our lives. Is that, sometimes moment to moment, where, especially with this ascension energy that's going on, all of the ramping up. I mean, I don't know if you guys can feel it, but, and it comes at different times for different people. And sometimes it seems like some people are just unaffected by it, and we're going through some kind of maelstrom internally. And for me, I'm getting to the end of my year, so I'm starting to finally understand what this completely unknown territory has been about for me. It's the end of a year that has been the very first year of a new 7-year cycle. So totally in the unknown this whole year, been dealing with that. So I'll get back to trust. Anyway, and we don't know sometimes the nature of what it is that we're going through. We're not in control. And being able to understand something is a substitute for control. Granted, feeling oriented can make all the difference to your nervous system. But if we are in complete absolute trust, we wouldn't need that. It's kind of for the ego, mind, inner child, maybe body, nervous system, that sometimes we're given that gift of knowing where we're at or what we're going through, or just what's the lay of the land, what's the meaning of this, what's the purpose of this. I mean, that's mostly what people come to me for, is help me understand the greater context. What is this situation for in my life? Why am I going through this? And through my system and my intuition, I'm usually able to help them figure that out. And most people, what they say is, I just felt better. I just feel so much better. And, sometimes we have that gift through someone else or through ourselves, and sometimes we don't. And I guess that's my point, is my big aha today is, even in the midst of that complete lack of knowing and lack of control, we can still trust. Because, like I said in that other video, and I remote viewed my Kundalini awakening, and I saw that there was duality, and within that, we can seek out neutrality. This is mind, this is time and space, this is the heart, this is love, this is God. This encompasses everything. And sometimes when we get locked in that mind, and how do I navigate the space and the fear and the human experience, we forget that we're loved and all is well. Somehow everything is okay because we're loved. So the trust versus love. So I don't know if anyone else experiences this, but an urgency in the moment, a constant sense of, I should be doing something. What should I be doing? I should be busy. I should be on task, whatever, the big should. And there's just this, you can't settle down and just be like a child. Just be. And I think that it's very possible we have lost so much touch with that. The controllers of this world want us to lose touch with that, because that is the experience of trust, of knowing that we're loved. That's being connected to the heart, to source. And if we're in mind, they can control us. If we're in love, they can't touch us. When you are in a state of essential trust, everything is available to you. That's one of my quotes I should write down. When you're in a state of trust, everything is available to you. There's just a feeling like, oh, this day is mine. Isn't it beautiful? The sun is so bright. All is well. And I think I have wrestled with my ego enough that I've come to a point where I've actually had that palpable experience. A program dissolved. So, again, like, one reason I haven't made this video is because it's all about me. I have been so tumbled and churned in my experience in the last well, since I quit smoking. So that was over 4 weeks ago. Yay for me! So it was a biochemical maelstrom, but, I didn't wanna make this video until I really felt grounded, and I do. I feel like I've kind of, in a sense, come out the other side, and I've quit smoking a bunch of times, and it wasn't a drama. It was, like, completely drama and symptom free. I don't know how I manifested that. I chalked it up to my superior consciousness. But this time is different. Um, it's truly into the unknown here because it's not just a biochemical thing. It's this as the ascension energies that we're going through. And so one day I had an experience that kind of brought this all clear. I won't go into detail about this, but there was a focus on healing the father wound and the lack of a sense of personal authority. And then there was the healing of the mother wound of feeling never really seen, solicited, recognized as an individual, nurtured, I guess, and that was both from father and mother, never nurtured to become. Um, so just surviving was enough. She's okay. She's not crying, so she must be okay. With that energy of nurture. Anyway, I got to the end of kind of dealing with the insanity of that, which included some really wonderful lessons in projection in my primary relationship. I was convinced that when I was saying to him, "You're in survival and you're addicted to dissociative states, you're not present," and there was one other thing, and then I realized that that was me. I don't want to live in survival anymore. I want to live in trust where everything is available to me and I have a sense of authority over my time, my life. I'm reclaiming my time. I found myself saying that so many times. I'm reclaiming my time here on this planet. And when I got through to the other side of this, I felt my brainstem. Like I took myself into an EMDR experience, which I do not recommend anymore to do it all by yourself. So I had the binaural beats going and just went into, I asked the question, where did my caretaking program start? Thank God Stuart came in at just the right moment and I kind of worked my way out and then these words came out of my mouth, after all the gut-wrenching sobbing of realizing what it was and when it was. Um, I said, I'm loved. Like, despite all of this, despite this handicap having dogged me, I'm almost 57 and I'm seeing the fallout of what was missing, how my life could have been different. And I think all of us can do that, right? It's just life. It's just this life. And like Rumi says, it does not matter how long you have been asleep. Just there's no time, it's all worthwhile. Anyway, so when I got to the end of that, gut-wrenching sobbing and this like, I'm loved. There's no shame. I'm loved. Um, I felt my brainstem. It felt like the reptilian part of my brain. And I literally like pulled off this helmet. And I know Rion talks about the Anunnaki collar that you get removed. There's a bunch of etheric things that we have in our fields, in our bodies, a bunch of stuff we can't see, and we have all kinds of language for all of it. And some of it's passed on, some of it's, whatever. We brought it in. Anyway, it came off. And for the next unspecified number of days, I think it was like 5 days, I was slowed down and present with absolutely no fear and no urgency. And this morning is the first time I had that urgency. And then I had that experience with Max. And I'm like, what am I supposed to be getting from this? So I'm still sorting through it. But I was just absolutely shocked at the difference between those two states. And I've carried that that program of urgency and fear my entire life, and something shifted. My brain is different. So I wanted to throw some cards for everybody if you're still listening. Um, this is a universal reading for all of us. I love this deck. Got some awesome cards this morning. Colette Baron Reed. God, it's just great. I love it. So this is for everybody. I think there's a chance I'm being shadow banned because of my the movie that came out, and I'm not going to say the whole thing because it's probably tagged already, but SOF with Jim playing Tim, and I did a prayer. Yeah, I think I've been tagged. Anyway, so if you're seeing this reading is for you. Ooh. And since you are my particular audience, I think we can assume you see the number on that? It's a clock. I think you know what that means. And okay. So I think the message, totally shifting gears. Okay, when I did remote view the Great Awakening, it went from the really broad strokes down to a deeply, deeply personal, very private experience, which has been the case for me. In fact, there's been a lot of material that I don't, a lot of, videos and truthers and stuff that I can't watch anymore because I'm so highly, highly sensitized to my own process. It's just, ooh, that was accurate. But okay, we know what storm means in our community. What storm, Mr. President? Well, it's here. We know what this means. This is the clock, and it is 14, 15. These numbers are indistinguishable. They're just like signs and symbols, but it does kind of look like it's 1:30. I don't know what that means, but I think that a lot of this has been going on behind the scenes, a lot of cleaning house. And I think that that is the reason that's happening is the same reason that we're going through transformation. It's happening on all levels, in all categories. Disclosure is happening. If you haven't seen Sound of Freedom, please, 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 please go see it. And if you're not seeing it because what they're saying about it, then you're complicit. You are complicit with those who are doing that to the children. That is the energy you are supporting. If you're like, oh, I'm not going to go see that because it's just all part of that, conspiracy, whatever. They're scared and they don't want you to see it. And that is not true. All of their accusations are just simply not true. It's not a Christian movie. But is it okay that some people are Christians and express their faith in a form of service that rescues children from this? Is that okay with you? Or is that too political? Okay, so the internal storm is here for a lot of change. Let's see what card number 17 actually says. Ghostlands. The storm fields is also an indication that there's a storm brewing internally, and it may be just within you. It may be with your partner. In my case, I thought it was my partner, but it was me. And then when I really stirred it up, it's like, oh, this was mine. And of course, there was some truth in it for him too, but that's not my business, right? Okay, Ghostlands, you can learn from the past and imagine a beautiful future, but you must live in the here and now. That's poignant. whenever you set your sights too far ahead, you run the, okay, just be here now. Be present. That's all you have to do. And I think that's a message to those of us, in the awakened community watching shit go down. Be in the present, be with yourself, be in your own body. Ask yourself regularly, how am I feeling? Get into the heart as often as you can. Get that, make it a post-it note in your brain. Go to the heart, go to the heart, go to the heart, because they can't touch you there. And I would say invoke Gene Decode's Jesus prayer. I would say look that up, Gene Decode's Jesus prayer. I might just read it aloud in a video just so that people can say it. Yeah, in fact, I'm gonna do that next, so just so um, you can have access to it. Pretty sure you can find it by going to blessedforservice.org and looking up the Jesus prayer. Copy it out, and say it at least a couple times, but I literally every day, many times a day, when I feel interference coming to me from the field, EMF or whatever the hell they're doing. And oh my God, there's this guy named Ryan something YouTube channel, and he's interviewed the 3 whistleblowers that were in Stephen Greer that were the most mind-blowing, and one of them saw a bunch of stuff in Antarctica. I'm not even gonna tell you the technology that they're talking about. Um, McDonald's is talking about putting, and you can look this up, he said. Okay, I haven't looked it up, but he said McDonald's is talking about using this amazing technology to stream advertisements to you in your sleep. Okay, that's called voice to skull technology, and they've had it for a long time. And it's in the Antarctic. I hope I don't get a strike for saying that. Anyway, when I feel any kind of interference, I just say, I invoke Gene Decode's Jesus prayer, and I feel a shift. And I do think there's a cumulative effect when you say that over and over again. It clears your field, and it may take you into a disorienting place because you've dropped so many programs that your ego identity was sort of leaning on for a sense of who you are. So stay in the present state in your body, and cleaning house. The last thing I'm gonna say about your process right now and wherever you may be is patience and trust. Patience and trust. Be kind to your inner child. All the things I've said before, but, when you're going across the Rocky and you can't get out of the river because the current is too strong and it's getting you black and blue on the rocks and blah, 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 just be kind to that inner child and trust and just keep breathing. Just keep breathing and know that everything not only is going to be okay, but it is okay. Everything's okay. So anyway, much love to all of you. And I'm going to make a video with, let me see, should I do that? Yeah, I'm getting a yes on that. Okay. Have a good one. Bye.